Brother, I'm going run a wild Hulk Hogan. If I like get some moment, I'll make sure it's an explosion. Cause lately I've been seeing stars, trying to kick out on this joy cord. But it's no holds barred, middle fingers like I'm Stone Cold.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Slapping Me Wrestling Podcast. I'm WeTooDeep, and it's been a while. It's been about 2 weeks since we've seen DJWAVYD on the show. He's back and ready to go. And so we'll start there. Before we get into Let's Get Cooking, as always, go to that description box, click the first link, go get you the free Otis shirt, go get you some mommy merch. Gunther the Ring General just released a new shirt. Roman Reigns got his new shirt. Go click that link. Go use our affiliate link. We get a small portion of that purchase back to put into the show. Outside of that, let's dive on in. It's been 2 weeks, so Let's Get Cooking is going to be a little different. About 2 weeks ago, I did some baddies tier list. At the sort of request of Wavy D here, where he asked the question, Liv Morgan or Maxine Dupree, and that went down a whole rabbit trail of him defending Liv, me defending Maxine. And so I want Wavy D to sort of judge my tier list, what he thinks of it, what he would fix, what he would do different. And that's gonna be our Let's Get Cooking today. Let's see what Wavy D thinks of my tier list.
Let's see. I tried to find it again real fast. I couldn't quite find it, but I remember because we sent them everywhere. Actually, it might be easier to find in the junkyard group chat.
Yes, sir. While he's looking,
did we put those in general?
Where did I put them? I thought I put them in general.
Oh well, but I do know there's a few things that I remember that I was not saying not a fan of. You know what I'm saying? WWE is filled with baddies. All right,
right.
So who am I to tell someone that their baddie ain't a baddie? But let's see. You had Ivy Nile, okay, which was a very, very controversial pick.
Mm-hmm.
I believe you had her in the A tier.
I did.
And I know you were saying, you gotta go based off of her not on screen look, okay? You know what I'm saying? Her every day, but her out of the WWE look. But you know what I'm saying? We were ranking WWE baddies, okay?
Okay.
And so in my eyes, you judge them based on their TV appearance, you know what I'm saying? Now, you might see a little bit inconsistencies with my list because I have a few women who I thought ranked a little bit higher, you know what I'm saying? And you might see them on TV every week, you're like, AD, I'm looking at them on TV. How are they this high when they got face paint on? All right. That's because you're not seeing them in the backstage segments. You only seen them in the ring, okay? Like, I know Asuka got some face paint on. Okay, you can't see her face. Guess what? That's because you ain't see her in her past, 7 years when all she had was a line on her face, if that. All right? She was a baddie before that. Her backstage segments, baddie. But I did peep that that WeTooDeep, that he ranked the blonde shorties, okay, pretty high. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He was ranking the blonde shorties pretty high, and both of us we ranked on the Smackdown side of things. We ranked both Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill kind of high.
Yeah.
And then on my end, I ranked Naomi and BFAB kind of low. WeTooDeep was low himself, a little bit of BFAB. You know what I'm saying? He did rank his Asian shorties a little low. Some might say criminally low. He also ranked Zoe Stark behind Shayna Baszler,
This is true.
which I thought was disrespectful. Okay, highly disrespectful. So, you know what I'm saying, guys? You need to. I know beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Okay, you know what I'm saying, and not let's see. Every woman is a championship to somebody. Okay. Well, whether you are the world heavyweight big gold title, or you're the 24/7 title, or the hardcore title, you are a championship to somebody. Okay, remember that.
Wise words from Wavy D right there. Yeah, so he's gonna be the sort of casual expert on baddies. He's got the DJWAVYD Baddie Award over at the Casual Wrestling Show on a Raw and SmackDown basis. His name gets associated with the baddie of the night.
As it should be.
So with that, we're gonna go in. I don't know. Did you watch the show that I did Saturday?
Yes.
Okay. So I went in there and I talked about SmackDown needing heels, and this is something I think we all agree with. I want to expand this conversation though to this take. I don't believe Triple H knows how to book the heel. He can book the chicken shit like Liv and Dom. He does that pretty well. But that dominant, like Nerdy D likes to say, like the Thanos, who could just show up there and snap his fingers and cause chaos. Doesn't really do that very well. I'm not counting the bloodline. Like Roman Reigns' bloodline, that's not Triple H.
It was pre-established, yeah.
Right. And so I want to know your thoughts on that. What do you think? Because here recently, with how he's booked Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, have been a little bit annoyed with this sort of like 50-50. We got to make the face look strong even in defeat. So what's your thoughts on this?
You're definitely correct when it comes to the analysis of his booking of Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. Especially with Bronson Reed, because he's been, let's book him book him kind of strong every other month, and then feed him to a face or something. Right. They don't want to pull the trigger on Bronson Reed right now. I think if he was on SmackDown, it would benefit him a lot because I feel like he could run that division with the U.S. title and just cause mayhem over there. And Loki, he might get the pass from the bloodline because he is Samoan. You know what I'm saying? He might not be from their family tree, but he is on the Wahi adjacent. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, I think Triple H is definitely having a hard time booking them. And, he's booking Gunther up until he won the title very well. Once he won the title, the booking kind of went down a little bit because, the World Heavyweight title, he booked him well as the IC champ. But as a World Heavyweight champion, he put him in a lose-lose situation up against Randy Orton. Because, Randy was just, coming over for like a one-time little matchup from SmackDown for like the C-level pay-per-view. And so, if he wins, he's supposed to win. If he loses, well, guess what? You're, a bad transitional champion.
Right.
And so he really put Gunther in the best of situations. And also including that Randy is, one of the best talkers in the industry. You know what I'm saying? He might not be always the most entertaining talker, especially when he's a face. He's not usually the most entertaining talker, but he's a very believable talker. So if you're not let's see, looking forward to a Randy promo, once he gets talking, you're captivated on his words, and you do listen to his words. I did miss last night's Monday Night Raw. All I saw was a couple messages in the group chat. I didn't even get around to watching the highlights yet because I fell asleep before this show, and that's why you're getting it a little bit late. You know what I'm saying? I had to pull back the curtain for you guys. You know what I'm saying? on the world of slapping meat. But and then when Nerdy made the point about kind of like the different types of heels, I know you see more of a in between spectrum kind of thing, but I do agree with on the idea, the general idea that your main two heels kind of are your Thanos heel and your Jokers and your Riddlers. You know what I'm saying? You have your heels that are just kind of like a constant little like thorn in your side who cause you to have a bad day, and then you have the heels who tend to ruin your career instead of just ruining your
Right.
day. You know what I'm saying? Like Kevin Owens, shoot, this man's been dealing with the bloodline for 4 or 5 years right now. Like this man's
Right.
he's literally going through his own bloodline saga of like his career. Whereas some wrestlers just deal with the bloodline for a month or two, he's dealing with it for 5 years. So
Right.
that's his Thanos. And along the way, he's had people like Theory and Waller who have been, a little Penguin and Riddler. You know, say if we're calling Kevin Owens Batman, saying he's dealt with the Riddler and the Joker, Riddler and Penguin, and then he's dealt with like Dark Side, if you want to call Roman Reigns Dark Side or something. I don't know. For y'all comic book nerds out there, you know what I'm saying? I rock with MCU, so there's a little DC reference. It was kind of hard to make, but it's you can definitely be a little more nuanced with heels, especially if you want like your tweener heels, the ones who are like, Kevin Owens isn't a tweener heel right now, but he does play that role really well, where he's just a prize fighter with a purpose, and he'll do anything he wants and can to get to his goal, whether it might be screwing a couple people over, or attacking a few guys, or letting them get attacked while he walks away. You know what I'm saying? Not being an uber baby face, and some people like that, some people don't, but he's good at it. And that's kind of my stance on the. Oh, but SmackDown freaking needs heels, and Triple H isn't doing the greatest job at booking heels in general. That's the big thing. Vince always made great heels, and his baby faces sometimes took a back seat, whereas Triple H is really trying to push faces, and his heels are taking a big back seat.
Right. I had that same thought earlier today. Like Vince was really good at pushing like the bad guy. Maybe because that was his character on TV. He kind of but his faces were kind of vanilla. And that doesn't necessarily mean they're all bad, but they just weren't a lot of the times entertaining. But Triple H, he can push a baby face like it's nothing. These heels, I don't know. It's really the sort of badass like dominant heel. Like there's no reason Sami Zayn needed to get offense against Braun Breaker. And so with that, we're gonna jump on into Bash at Berlin predictions, as it's that time of the month again where we have a PLE here. Overseas, Europe, it's going to have an interesting 2-week period where they had All In London, and now they have a Berlin pay-per-view. So let's start with, is LA Knight's Open Challenge like official? Like it's going to happen?
Yeah, that's what I saw. It was on like what websites have it on their card predictions.
Okay. So let's start with that match, since we don't really necessarily have like an opponent, and I hope it stays that way. I don't know about you, but it really annoys me when like they announce an open challenge, and like 2 days later on like social media, someone answers it before we even like it. That kind of bothers me, because the whole point of like an open challenge, especially like remember when John Cena did it with the U.S. title, the whole point was John Cena is going to come out to the ring unprepared, and whoever wants to try to beat him can come get some. And this whole idea of like giving the champion time to prepare for you, like why would you answer it before the music plays is my question. But with that, who do you think is going to answer the open challenge? Is it someone already on the roster, or do you think maybe there's a surprise?
I'm really hoping, that it's a surprise, and I'm really hoping that they don't answer the question like on SmackDown on the
Mm-hmm.
go home show.
Right.
Do you know if they produce and record SmackDown, or are they gonna do it like the day before, like they usually do, especially with the time zone difference?
That
But
I don't know.
if they, if they do film it live or film it like SmackDown like the day before or something, or earlier in the day, and it will
Yeah,
air.
so typically how they do the Europe shows is like they film it what is 8 o'clock over there, but it's like
Mhm.
2 o'clock here, and then it airs 8 o'clock here. So it's
Okay,
probably going to be pre-taped. So
from
we'll
earlier in
just
the day,
from
yeah.
earlier in that earlier Friday, yeah.
So assuming that they don't announce it, um, I can see maybe returning Shinsuke,
Mm,
uh, returning AJ Styles, but if it might seem like a little bit of a because AJ and LA Knight had that big feud before AJ went off to go try and fight Cody.
right.
Some people might look at it as a step back from him feuding with the world titles and feuding with the U.S. title, but he already has a pre-built-in history with the guy holding the title, so maybe they can revisit that. Um, I think what another way you could do it that might be a little bit corny, but you have either Waller or Theory answer the challenge and like not tell the other one,
Mm,
and that can build a further crack in the relationship. Um, or we can go balls to the wall and we can debut a new superstar. Um, I don't know if he's officially a free agent, but from what I heard, he is. We can bring in Ricky Starks.
mm,
Um, I don't know if I'm the hugest fan of it because since LA Knight just won the U.S. title, I don't want to see Ricky Starks' first match on the roster be a loss on PLE. But you know, people are saying that if any of them could take a loss on their debut and still stay cooking, it is Ricky Starks.
mm.
But I'm also not against LA Knight just losing it due to overconfidence, and maybe
Right.
we Ricky Starks comes in and beats him, or anyone beats him, and then we kind of dive down a character arc where LA Knight kind of has to get humbled, and he has to realize sometimes he might not be the hottest shit in the tank. You know what I'm saying?
Could it also be a way to like? Because I agree that Starks coming in and winning would be quite a surprise, quite a way to um get because you're not going to leave that event with much to talk about. I don't think anything super big is going to happen.
Mm.
So if Ricky Starks comes in, debuts, and wins the U.S. title, but could that also not be a way to sort of, because we know Starks and Cody are friends, could that be a way LA Knight sort of gets back at, he can sort of turn heel-ish and go against Cody?
Okay.
Because Cody, he doesn't really have much line. Like it's hard to determine where Cody's going from here, outside of potentially Randy. Um, but yeah, my pick is Ricky Starks. I think, and I'm going to go on the limb and say it has to be Ricky Starks to answer. Like I said, there's nothing you're going to talk about this show unless for whatever reason they decide to have one of the main champions lose, which I don't see happening. And we'll get to those predictions in a minute. You're not going to have much like press out after the show. So what's a better way to end it than to answer Ricochet debuting on AEW and having Ricky Starks come in, and even in a loss, that's still big news to talk about. Because a lot of AEW fans, I've heard a lot of AEW, Tony says he's still under contract. Well, that's not what any of the dirt sheets are saying, and all the rumors are saying he's a free agent. So I don't know. I think it has to be if Ricky Starks is truly a free agent, it has to be him. I know a lot of people are saying Dragunov or Kaiser because they're from Germany. I'm just not a big fan of sort of destroying the idea of two separate rosters.
Mm.
I know we're sort of doing that with Gunther and Randy, but they at least had some sort of history there as to why this match is taking place. just randomly answering the other brand's open challenge, to me, doesn't make much sense.
Especially if there's no like built-in tension between the superstar and their GM, causing
Right.
them to quit or want to quit or
Right.
losing a I quit match or something like that.
But I also think Dragunov and Kaiser, they're in qualifying matches for the IC title next week. So I don't know. You said you didn't watch Raw, so they've been doing triple threats to determine who's going to be in the fatal 4-way match in like 2 weeks to get whoever wins that fatal 4-way is the number one contender. So we have Pete Dunne and Jey Uso already who won. I think Kaiser and Dragunov win their matches next week. And so it's going to be those 4. And I think, honestly, either Dragunov or Kaiser are going to win the fatal 4-way to face Braun Strowman. Or Braun Breaker, excuse me. There's so many Brauns on Raw right now.
Yeah.
But to face Braun Breaker, I think it's going to be either Kaiser or Dragunov at Bad Blood. And so I don't see really a reason. They're already in the IC tournament. Why would they try to go after the other mid-card title as well? So if it's not Ricky Starks, I like the idea of Shinsuke coming back. AJ, I don't know if there's any other like free agent that they could potentially debut. I just don't really pay attention to the free agent market like that. But
Omos.
I swear, if Omos answer this, I mean, I'll pop. I'll pop, but I think I might be the only one. They might get a few boos in there. But let's move on to women's tag team. Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair versus what WWE calls the unholy union, what we call here in the casual community, dental control.
Yes, sir.
Coined by yours truly, Wavy D. Who's winning this match? Is Jade, Bianca getting their title back, or?
I thought it's not a triple threat match.
I just believe it's just the 2 as of now, unless they want to change it. I believe it should be a fatal 4-way. Let's go ahead and put Damage Control and PFC in it.
For some reason, I thought Damage Control was already in it. I thought it was a triple threat match. I could be. I guess I'm wrong. I thought.
Yeah, it's just the 2.
Give me. I mean, if Triple H was smart, I mean, let's see. I'm thinking you give me Jay and Bianca because Unholy Union only kind of got the titles, RP Alba Fire's mom, but I think that's the only reason that they kind of won the titles in the first place because, I don't think they should have lost them or Bianca and Jay should have lost them that early into the run. And also, if Bianca and Jay lose a 1v1 match like that to these guys on PLE, especially with no shenanigans,
right?
I think it kind of sets them back and, not buries, but it definitely hinders them a little bit. Major L.
Yeah. Well, and now you add in the aspect of like Blair Davenport, but you sort of even the odds with Naomi. I'm assuming both of them will be out ringside. So everything to me, if I'm reading it correctly, screams Bianca and Jade winning the titles back. Unless for some reason they find some other British woman to join a faction and debut. I just don't see them doing anything too big. I think this is just a way for them to put the titles back on Jade and Bianca, and have us move forward. What I would assume into the problem with this division is it spans all 3 brands.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to follow. And so I really wish that they would either keep it to the main roster, because having the casuals follow it to NXT is confusing and never really leads to anything. But really, I wish that they would keep this division dedicated to. I would choose Raw because it's the longer show, but at least one of the shows where that division is sort of it's exclusive to that brand to give something unique for you to put on each week that the other brand doesn't have. Yeah, I'm going Jade and Bianca, and if it's not Jade and Bianca, just split them up, do something, because you're really holding back Bianca right now. Jade, I think it would be fine in like a mid card situation right now, but Bianca I understand you can have her win all the time, but when your main title picture right now is Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton, like Tiffany's good enough, but Bianca is levels beyond the rest of the competition there, and so it just feels like they're holding her back.
Even if you are trying to split them, we're still a little bit too far out to where you run these guys at Mania or even Royal Rumble. Even the Royal Rumble, they're still too kind of far out.
Right.
Because, like, how far can you get the split to kind of go until they come to a fight? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because Royal Rumble is what, February? First week of February?
It's February 1st, so...
Yeah, so, like, if they break up to the Sunday, how do you keep them separated from fighting in an actual match until February?
Yeah, that's still 5 months. So, yeah, you got to keep them together. I would say at least till Survivor Series, because December they don't do nothing. And then you start like with day one and whatever they'll call Smackdown show. But I just give them the titles, give them another like 3-4 month reign, and then have some shenanigans happen to where they split because they lose the titles again. The typical, like, we're going to split the tag team storyline that we've seen a million times. But
if I were them, I would low key run the Rey Mysterio and Eddie storyline back, where they're tag team champions together, and I think they got put against each other in some type of qualifying match for like the U.S. title or whatever. And Rey won that match, and then he won some other match because Eddie was like, I just want to have a friendly competition, yada yada, and Eddie got obsessed with he couldn't beat Rey.
Right. Well, I even like the idea of when they were champions, but Bianca was trying to enter in like Queen of the Ring or whatever, and Bianca wanted to chase gold outside of the tag division.
Yeah.
Even where Jade's sort of real focused on defending, but Bianca's distracted by trying to go after the women's title, and having that be sort of the crux that ends up. They started to run something like that on NXT with Axiom and Fraser.
Yeah.
Where they were focused on the speed titles, which are dumb as shit. No, we just go ahead and cancel that show. I think Speed gets worse reviews than Rampage. So
it gets more views though.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But yeah, I just give Jade and B. Honestly, that if they don't win, that might ruin the whole show for me, because I think the rest of the card goes very predictable. If you understand where the story is leading, so that leads into, let's do the other tag match. Dom and Liv versus the, what do they call them? The Terror Twins.
Yeah.
Of Rhea and Damian Priest. This has to be Liv and Dom. That's the only way they can continue the story into Bad Blood. It has to be Dom and Liv winning this match, and it has to be by shenanigans. Because I imagine that like Finn gets involved, and that's how we get Finn versus Damian. But in order to continue Rhea versus Liv, I feel, has to get some sort of sneaky win, especially if it's going towards Hell in a Cell, which I think it is. Because you have to find a way to be like, look, we got to keep the outside people out. Got to keep the Judgment Day out. So we're going to put you in a cage. And that's how I see this happening. What about you?
Now, a big part of my prediction is when I look to the rest of the Raw women's roster, who can I put in a women's title feud against Liv Morgan? So, outside of Rhea, who can she face? Like, are we gonna run back Zelina? Are we gonna book Lyra actually competent this time? Well, I mean, it's not looking good that she got in that started hanging out with the jobbers. But are we gonna take Lyra, serious again? Are we gonna maybe push Sonya with the backing of the stud line? Like, what are we gonna do? Because I think the smarter thing to actually do is, I know you want to kind of, let Rhea get her get back, but I think the way you get to a Rhea versus Bianca situation at Mania is if both of them don't have a title.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
so
I
think
can.
I think
I 100% agree with that.
unless one of them wins the title and the other one wins like Royal Rumble or something. But
I just don't necessarily see that happening.
mm,
Because I still think Charlotte's winning Rumble, but I don't even know if she's ready yet. So I could see Bianca potentially winning. The problem with them winning Rumble is it just feels weird having the top two women winning Rumble. Because Rumble always feels like that, like stepping stone to advance someone's career.
mm,
And I feel like Rhea and Bianca are already there, so I don't think they require a win at Rumble.
yeah.
But I think a fun way to get Bianca versus Rhea is if you do what I said with the women's tag division and Adam Pearce announces, hey, all the women's tag teams are coming to Raw. We've done such and such trade, and it gets like announced on SmackDown or whatever. And Bianca's excited to go over there because it's, she wants to get off of SmackDown, but Jade's sort of skeptical of leaving. And in that's sort of how you separate the two. Maybe they break up that way. Or Jade doesn't show up to team with Bianca one night or whatever. And I don't know, you could work something out like that to where Bianca's on the brand with Rhea, and then Bianca has nothing to do, so now she's got no friends, and maybe Rhea's trying to take out some anger or whatever. So
that's really my biggest obstacle is I think we get Rhea versus Bianca at Mania, but I don't know how to get there without one of them being the champion currently or
right.
going into Mania season, because I'm still trying to keep the title off of Rhea. I know, to come full circle, she beats Liv, gets her title back, gets her confidence and swagger back, and reclaims her throne. But
I think that could happen at like a SummerSlam next year, though. I think Liv needs the title.
That's what I'm saying. I think if Rhea wins the title, there's no way to take it off of Rhea before Mania,
right?
In a credible way, especially the way Raw's roster is looking. I think if you have Liv go over at Bad Blood and Liv going forward, who's Liv face though?
I would hope. I would hope going into, because after Bad Blood, they'd already will start the new contracts with the TV deals. So I would hope, except for Raw will start in January. But I would imagine that you want to start the year with a bang. So after Bad Blood, it's Crown Jewel, which I don't think Liv will participate in, and then it's Survivor Series, which they could theoretically do like traditional champion versus champion, which holds off until Netflix, where you can debut someone like Roxanne Perez. So I think there's a logistical way you can do it to where Liv doesn't necessarily have to defend until the new year. I just personally, for me, if Liv loses the title, I lose all interest in her character outside of her and Dom story. But unless that's what they're going to try to tell, is people start taking away what she has, and that maybe that makes her go psycho or something. I don't know. I feel like if she doesn't have the title, she's not as interesting.
Yeah, and the reason I ask all these questions is because it kind of depends who's going to win this tag team match. Because if Rhea gets her get back and gets over at Bloodline, or I mean at Bad Blood, then I think Liv Morgan and Dom get the win tonight. But if you move forward and Rhea doesn't win from Liv Morgan, I think Damien and Rhea win at their tag team match.
Mm.
If I'm thinking the more logical like storytelling route, I think you do Dom and Liv go over at Bash at Berlin, and Rhea wins her title back at Bad Blood.
Yeah,
So give me Liv and Dom.
Cool. We're on the same page then, because that's exactly what I think is going to happen. Speaking of blood feud, we got Drew versus Punk 1-on-1 for the first time finally. It's a strap match. Correct me if I'm wrong, but haven't WWE? When was the last time WWE did a strap match? First off,
the last one that I really remember was the Umaga versus John Cena one.
Right. Now, did they have to touch? They had to touch all four corners? Because I don't remember that being part of the rules. So maybe I just don't remember.
No, it definitely is. I mean, I know Cody and them did that bull rope match or whatever. Right. They've definitely done strap matches or like one or two since the Cena Umaga match. But yeah, the thing is, touch the four corners, and they were talking about it. I think they were talking about it on the Jim Cornette show. If they're gonna do that finish that that wrestling always does, where the heel is dragging the face around and hitting all the corners, but not knowing that the baby face is right behind him, also tapping the corners, and then they kind of fight for a struggle to tap the last one. That's kind of they're alluding to that in the Jim Cornette show. I think you find it funny, but WWE hasn't really done strap matches. They might have done like a lot of bull rope or tied together matches, but I don't think WWE has really done too many strap matches lately.
Yeah, because I've never, like, I know that was the rules, but I can't recall WWE ever requiring them to touch all four sides. But to be honest, I don't remember the last time I've seen a strap match.
I remember there was one time where it was like really corny, where they had like lights in the corners, and like the lights were lighting up. It was like green for heel and red for face, or vice versa.
Right. But with that, Punk or Drew, who do you have winning here?
Give me so Punk won the last one, and I think CM Punk wins this, and then you kind of get the blow up match at Bad Blood, whether it be like a Hell in a Cell or something. But the problem is that CM Punk is the one who introduced the strap to the match. Or was it Drew and then CM Punk just took it from him?
No, it was Punk. Punk said, if you want to mess around with the bracelet, I'll give you something to put around your wrist or something like that. Was his promo. Right. So Punk introduced it. I think
give me Punk for the win.
I'm going Drew. I think Drew wins here. And I think Drew wins because the bracelet's going to play a part of it, and Punk's going to lose focus for the bracelet, and Drew's going to beat the shit out of him, and then win the match. I think it would be fun though. I know it's not going to happen because I think if this particular person I want to show up, if he shows up, it's going to be in NXT, and that's AJ Lee. I want AJ Lee back, and there's talks about it. There's been rumors about it for the last month or two. And she's been mentioned by name. I think it'll be fun to bring her back in this feud, to be honest. Then we'll move towards Kevin Owens versus Cody Rhodes for the Universal Championship. So I guess the first question is who wins, and then secondly, is Kevin turning full heel, or is this just some teasers?
Yeah, that was another thing that I kind of struggled with, was that we're all expecting kind of like a Kevin Owens heel turn at some point, and a lot of us think it might happen post match when he doesn't beat Cody. But if we're going down that path, then when does Cody face Randy?
Right.
I mean, because we're thinking unless they do Cody versus Randy at Survivor Series, it would be Cody versus Kevin Part 2 at Bad Blood if Kevin were to turn heel. But then Owens loses 2 times in a row because I doubt they take the title off of Cody, and so that kind of pushes back the Cody versus Randy matchup. I kind of like to see like a triple threat between them all: Kevin Owens,
Mm.
Cody, and Randy. But I don't see WWE doing that or pulling a trigger on that. I think for prediction purposes, I go with Cody Rhodes, but I think the interesting part will be coming out of it because like Cody is going to be booked big in some way for Bad Blood, with all these teaser promos like from like 2 months ago, and they're still going on, and it's also in Atlanta, Georgia, Cody's hometown. So what are we gonna do with Cody at Bad Blood that's like big enough? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't think a rematch with Kevin Owens is big enough for Cody at Bad Blood with all this pressers that he's doing. So I think kind of Randy steps back in. He sees that that Kevin turned on Cody, and maybe tries to talk to Cody, and but then Cody kind of dismisses him. So then like Randy's like, "Oh, am I that soft now? People are dismissing me," and maybe
Mm.
gets some sort of triple threat match at Bad Blood. But I think Cody wins in any scenario. I think Cody wins to start the Kevin Owens turn, or even to get Randy coming after him in some form or fashion. I think Cody has the title on him. So I got Cody walking out of Bash at Berlin with the title.
Yep. Yeah, I have Cody winning. I actually think that this is going to be your most, I guess, indie style match. This is going to be like the fans are going to love it. Everyone's going to come out of this saying this was the best match of the night. And Cody's going to win. I don't see them taking the title a month away from the show that he's literally the guy on the poster. In his hometown. I just don't see them doing that. But I just don't really know the direction they go in after. I don't think Kevin turns here. I think they're going to slow turn him like they always do. My turn, I do believe it's going to be Randy, but I believe it's going to be for another reason when we get to that match. So overall, what's your thoughts on the Cody title run? Because I'm not certain that it's all that good, to be honest with you.
I think the reason it's not the greatest in the world is just because of Triple H's lack of ability lately of building heels, and all the good heels are on Raw, and so Cody kind of has little to work with, and the heels he's given are not booked in any certain way or any sort of way to where they let alone they're getting the WWE Championship, let alone the World Heavyweight Championship. You know what I'm saying? So there's no strong enough heels for Cody to like really work with, have a great program with, and the most compelling people that he can work with are faces over there. So and Triple H isn't it's the first time he's exploring like a face versus face kind of thing with Cody. Give him Kevin Owens, and so it's a step in the right direction, I guess. But there's just no heels for Cody to face, and he's also a great chaser in the first place. He's better chaser rather than champion, and you're not doing him any favors by not giving him any great opponents.
Right. Yeah. Do you think Dave Meltzer puts this on a 5-star level? Is he going to throw out numbers of stars that don't exist like he did for AEW, or it's just going to be your standard WWE match? What do you think?
I mean, I can't stand Dave Meltzer in the first place, but because this man, for y'all who don't know, he ranked the Britt Baker and Monet match higher than Tony Storm and Mariah May. He gave Ryan May and Tony Storm a 1.5 star match, and I think he gave Baker and Monet 2.5 or 3 stars,
something like that. Yeah,
like this man is tweaking, bro. So what? I don't know how he ranks this match, but
I just want to know, first off, how you give Jack Perry versus Darby Allin a 5-star match. I didn't watch it. Full disclosure.
For y'all for y'all who did see my appearance on the Beyond the Junkyard podcast, my extracurricular prediction was right. I said that Jack Perry was going to try to set Darby Allin on fire in my secondary prediction, my bonus prediction, and I was correct.
Yeah, that match is a 5-star, right? And so because he labels that a 5-star, there's 2 other matches that are better. He makes those automatically 6 stars. But the problem with that is, okay, Dave, you're running on a 5-star scale. How do you get 6 out of 5? That doesn't exist. So the only other option is it's out of 10, and the 6 out of 10 is mid. So Dave, you got to be consistent here. Like, also, Kurt Angle has 0 5-star matches, by the way, which is insane. But yeah, this I think this will be the best match of the night. Just my prediction. It'll have that AEW flair to it. That'll get the crowd happy.
So I've been over here doing a little bit of research. I've been looking off to the side a little bit. I've been trying to find like WWE's like last like strap match, because I definitely, unless they labeled the John Cena and Umaga strap match something different, maybe like, I don't know, like a 4 corners match or something like this. Because I really could have swore John Cena faced Umaga in a strap match. Did he not? Do you remember? Unless I have like a Mandela effect. Google it.
That was a while ago, and probably before my time. Let's see. I just looked up Cena versus Umaga. There was a street fight.
Yeah, last man standing match. I did find CM Punk versus Umaga in a strap match, so maybe that's what I'm like low key thinking of. But anyways, I got this information from where the fuck is this information? This guy from ProWrestlingFandom.com. Your boys over at NXT have had quite a few strap matches actually down in NXT, including one from September of last year.
I was gonna say, I thought I saw one, but it was on NXT.
That one was between
it was Dijak,
Eddie Thorpe and Dijak. And then, do you recall? I mean, they touched the 4 corners, but you had on an episode of Monday Night Raw from 2021. So that's what, Pandemic Raw. You had Jackson Riker versus Elias in a strap match that lasted 3.5 minutes. So take that as you will.
Right.
Extreme Rules 2022. You had Karrion Kross versus Drew McIntyre in a strap match. That one I do kind of recall them feuding, but I forget if they touched the corners or not.
That's what I'm saying, because I don't ever remember them requiring the 4 corners. Because if I remember correctly, Dijak versus Eddie Thorpe ended in a pin.
Yeah, I mean, I do, unless there's different stipulations to it though. But I can recall, seeing them touching the corners of the rings and like lights lighting up or like refs counting it. So maybe they called it a 4 corners match or something like that. Like if you go back to Extreme Rules 2013, you had you had Sheamus and Mark Henry in a strap match that lasted 8 minutes. Extreme Rules 2010 had JTG versus Shaq Gaspard in a strap match that lasted 6 minutes. and the Extreme Rules 2009 that had CM Punk versus Umaga in a strap match.
Mm.
So
I'll have to go back and watch these because I don't ever remember seeing anyone have to touch all four corners. And I know that's been the rule because I know that's how Dusty used to have to do his matches, Dusty Rhodes and all of them. But yeah. But let's talk about our main event. This is what we're all here for. The Ring General versus Randy Orton. So before we predict this match, your opinion of Gunther over the last few weeks have sort of, you used to be on my side and now you're sort of over there with Snooze General name calling. So what's your thought process in that?
So I think a big thing of it is that, given any superstar that does it, I kind of zone out because I get bored. But it's when they do the interview in the crowd in the empty arena before the show.
Mm-hmm.
That interview setup, I just can never get behind. I always think it's kind of boring. Like you guys aren't Mankind / Mick Foley. You guys can't do the empty arena interviews. And I feel like that's the only time we get like the full thoughts from Gunther on a during a rivalry or during a feud is when he does an empty arena interview. He has done like three of them now during the last year.
Yeah.
And when he's in the ring, he is almost like when Dominic was getting booed so heavy that he couldn't get a word in.
Mm-hmm.
It's like kind of Gunther's going down the same road. But like with Dom, I think it was kind of planned because Dom didn't really have much to say in the first place. Yeah, I think he was almost leaning on the booze. But Gunther, I feel like he just can't get a word in with the booze.
Right.
And when he does, he's not. There's certain notes or certain points I feel like he can really get behind if he pushed them and he went down those paths. Whether it be anti-American or I don't think he necessarily has to be like pro Aussie or whatever, or not Aussie, Austrian or whatever he is. He has to be like pro that, or he be pro European maybe. But I think just being anti-American, or even if he pushed down the classism a little more,
right. That's where I think they need to do. They need to do like European excellence, like superiority. So like, having some sort of like global superiority, where because the big thing with that me and James and all of them have had this debate about the different styles of wrestling and how the American style is sort of too entertaining for someone like Gunther, who's just, I'm going to step in the ring and beat your ass, the sort of British style. And I feel like if you have like that European superiority complex where like we're better than you, because that's how a lot of Europeans feel about Americans anyway, is that, oh, Americans are just a bunch of lazy fat people who were better than them. I don't know if you've ever been to Europe, but that's the vibe I got the last time I went. And so I feel like that works. Look at me, I'm Gunther, I'm the best in the ring. That was his gimmick early on when he signed with NXT UK. Imperium's whole thing was the mat is sacred. We don't need all of this fancy shit. We're just going to be the elite wrestlers in the ring. And they sort of went away from that. And I feel like if they went back to that, and then honestly, Gunther should never talk ever again. Why is Kaiser not the mouthpiece? I just don't understand what Triple H's infatuation with giving a mic to Gunther is. Right? And I'm a Gunther fan. I like Gunther. He shouldn't talk. He shouldn't talk at all. And it's not that he's bad. Kaiser's miles better than him. Far more charismatic. And so, with that, does Randy stand a chance in winning this?
No. I think it would be a big shock, and I would like it if Randy won, especially because
of your prediction.
yeah,
Yeah.
long-term
Which I will
storytelling.
say, I forgot what site I was on. It may have been Reddit, but someone was saying that whole thing that it would be really beneficial for or make them happy if Randy won it and then like immediately dropped it like 2 weeks later, and then won it again and went into Mania to face Cena, where Randy was the champion with 16 titles and Cena already has 16, so Cena can then beat the record by beating Randy.
I want to see them both fight for a vacant title to see who gets 17.
So I like that. I just don't know how you get to the whole idea of a vacant title unless, maybe Cena sends somebody, but Cena's not a heel, so he's not going to send someone to attack Orton.
Unless we get like Psycho Randy again, he goes around punting everybody, and
right.
maybe he like punts Adam Pearce or something,
and then he gets stripped.
Like due to your actions, you're being stripped of the title or something like that.
Since you mentioned Psycho Randy, that's going to transition into where I was going. I think we're going to
Psycho Sid.
R.I.P. But I think Gunther beats Randy so bad in this match that it causes Randy to go, start hearing them voices in his head again. And we're talking like 09 Randy Orton. And I think that's how we get Cody versus Orton. I would like to see Orton win. I kind of like your idea. I just don't see how logistically we can get Randy to 16 and then to drop the title and then bring them and Cena together. That whole part, if Triple H can figure it out, I'm all here for it. I can't seem to rationalize it in my head how to book that. But yeah, Gunther, there's no way they're having Gunther lose. I just can't see it happen. And I think he beats Randy so bad that's what causes sort of
same, yeah.
That Psycho Randy to come out, that heel turn to go against Cody. Maybe it's even he goes back to SmackDown and Cody says hello to him, and Randy sees the title and gets like upset or jealous or whatever, and snaps on him. And I think that could lead first off to like a Randy versus Kevin, because Kevin maybe comes to Cody's defense, so we can get Randy versus Kevin first, and then Randy versus Cody maybe at a later time. I don't know. It really just depends on how they run Survivor Series, because if it's traditional champion versus champion like it tends to be, we're going to get Cody versus Gunther.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, but I think there's no way they have Gunther. This whole show was designed for Gunther. I don't see them sending that crowd unhappy. So, any final thoughts for this PLE? Pretty vanilla card. The
only match that truly or actually, even though we think they're predictable, I think there's two matches that can really go either way, and I think it's the women's tag match and then the mixed tag match. I think that the two world titles don't go anywhere, and
Punk. Drew.
I guess Punk and Drew is actually a toss up too. So we got three matches where I can see either party winning the match, and we get somewhere down the line that makes sense in the story.
Right.
And then the LA Knight Open Challenge, it will be very interesting. Depends who answers the challenge.
Right.
But it's hard to see LA Knight, losing his title right after winning it.
Right.
But unless you want to tell a deeper story with LA Knight, that maybe, the reason you haven't won the big one is because you can't even defend the runner-up, not runner-up, but yeah, the mid-card title, let alone giving you a shot at the world title.
Right. All right, so we're going to move forward to, we haven't done this in a few weeks. We're moving on to Thirsty Tuesday. We are starting round 3 of the men's tournament. We're down to the final 8. We're gonna vote on all 4 matchups tonight. So the first one we have, I really question our Discord here because Daniel Garcia has now beat Ricochet and Finn Balor, and he's going against Trick Williams on this week's episode. So who do you got going here?
Ooh, Trick Willie versus Daniel Garcia. I gotta go Trick Willie.
Yeah, Trick Willie all day, all day. We'll see what the Discord got to say, but yeah, Trick Willie. We were just speaking on Ludwig Kaiser. He's moved on and he's taken on Logan Paul.
Ooh, Ludwig Kaiser versus Logan Paul. I know. See, they both got their different types of
right
of appeal. You got Ludwig, who looks like a ripped soccer player, ripped European soccer player, and you got Logan Paul, who's kind of like that, like varsity athlete, frat boy kind of appeal.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He's also still pretty jacked. I'll get the edge to Logan Paul because I feel like Kaiser. You know what I'm saying? I think he's a male butterface. That you know what I'm saying? Where I feel like he's definitely like outside with the Europeans. I feel like in America, he might not be like the most handsome thing unless you like hear his accent or something. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, y'all know me in them accents. It's Ludwig, man. It's Ludwig. Y'all know me in them accents. Nah. Our next matchup is Carmelo Hayes versus Joe Hendry.
Joe Hendry. I think Carmelo.
Oh, it's Carmelo all day. Carmelo all day. And then our final matchup of round number 3 is the future main event of WrestleMania 45. Roman Reigns versus MJF.
Yikes. Give me Roman Reigns.
Yeah. Who y'all think this is? It's Roman Reigns all day. We're saluting the real tribal chief. So there's that. That's another episode of the Slapping Me Wrestling Podcast. Any closing words as we close this out?
So during when we wrapped the strap match, I was doing a little bit of research here on the side. Okay, so outside me finding like the matches that they listed, I went on YouTube real fast to try to see if I could find the matches or at least the ending to the matches.
Right.
I can confirm that Umaga versus CM Punk ended in tapping all 4 corners.
Okay.
Sheamus versus Mark Henry ended with tapping all 4 corners. I couldn't find the alleged Shad Gaspar versus JTG one. It probably just wasn't that popular on YouTube to make videos of it. I mean, it lasted 3 minutes. Eddie Thorpe and Dijak did end in pinfall, and Drew McIntyre versus Karrion Kross ended in pinfall. But historically, it seems like WWE has done a pretty good job of doing the 4 corners kind of thing. Especially under Vince. So seeing them bring back the 4 corners is good because the strap match I think hasn't always been the most popular match in WWE. We haven't seen too many of them. NXT has been kind of doing them a lot. Like they did have a few takeovers.
Right.
I think NXT's had maybe like 4 or 5 strap matches since 2010 or whatever 2013, whenever they started doing their black and gold stuff.
Right.
I think they've had like 3 strap matches, 3 or 4. But I was doing a little bit of research on that. Shoot, what else was I gonna say? There's another thing I was gonna say. So I got a real ending debate for you here, or not a debate, a question for you. All right. So you know as wrestling fans, say when we throw up the ones, saying it's for our boy for Roman Reigns. But across the world, okay, maybe y'all can answer this in the Discord too. Across the world, if you go like this with somebody,
Mm-hmm.
you go like this, are they gonna take it as Roman Reigns, or are you a sketch fan? What's up, brother?
What's up, brother?
Yeah. So if you see a picture of me like this, am I now
Right.
Roman Reigns, or am I what's up, brother?
Right.
So who controls the ones in the air? Roman Reigns or sketch? Let us know in the comment section. Let us know in the Discord.
Yeah, that's a tough question.
Two global forces right there.
Right. Roman, sketch. Let us know in the Discord. You can join that Discord by clicking the link in the description. Like, share, subscribe. Tell all your friends. If you're listening on audio, leave us a review. Tell us how you feel about the product. And until Friday, we got a good show for you. I'm going over Monday Night Raw. Let's give WavyD some time to watch it. I'm going to go over my thoughts on it. I'm going to break down. WWE loves to put NXT PLEs the same weekend as main roster for whatever reason. So we're going to break down No Mercy that's happening this Sunday. And then we're going to discuss this independent wrestling event I went to over the weekend. Talk about some of what I saw there and why I believe that even as casual fans, we should support independent wrestling.
Question:
and so,
would it be next show or the show after we would do our all out predictions, or do you want to see if the Junkyard Boys will have us on for
all out is what, the 7th? So it would have to be.
It would have to be next week's show.
Yeah,
if we were to do a prediction episode.
That may be one of them things where you asked to go back in on Thursday, because I ain't really give two fucks about All In or All Out or whatever the fuck we're doing. I don't understand why Tony runs these events so close together. But
next week I'll give you guys my thoughts on All In. Why I finished watching.
Right, he's going on day 3 of trying to watch this thing.
Yeah, but I think the link I had stopped working. I think I take it down. Now I gotta find a new link.
It's on. That's unfortunate, because that's how I was watching it too. But with that, we will see you all on the next episode of the Slapping Me Wrestling Podcast.
Brother, I'm going running wild Hulk Hogan. If I like get some moment, I'll make sure it's an explosion. Cause lately I've been seeing stars, trying to kick out on this jaw cord. But it's no hope.